We'll start our next question with Representative McCollum. Debt, deficit, and interest on debt. How does this play into our economy for now and the future?
It is something that needs to be addressed. And how do we address what our national budget looks like in the future? Here again, we hear some say, raise taxes. We hear other people say, cut taxes. We hear people say, just look at entitlements. Well, folks, it's a three-legged stool. And everything needs to be on the table together when we discuss it. We need to discuss revenues coming in and out. We need to discuss how we raise those revenues. And we also have to discuss what is going to be the future and what does our country think entitlements should look like in the future. But everybody just wants to say, I'm gonna look at fixing the problem, but I won't touch this or I won't touch that. And so I haven't signed any pledges because I really believe we need to come together for the common good and come together with a common sense solution in which everything is explored and looked at, because that is the way we do things in America.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson.
Well, we need more thinking on this. I just don't think that that's what we're doing, is coming up with common sense solutions. I mean, anybody who would look at the last 2 years and think that's a common sense solution, I don't know. Now, as far as the debt, one way to look at debt is not totally bad. If there's a debt, somebody is doing well and somebody is doing well, but they could be doing better. I mean, there's two sides to every financial transaction, so there's nothing inherently evil about debt. We do need to have a common sense management of it. We need to have a direction that we understand how this economy works and what direction we want to have. One of the problems with the federal debt is it's intervening on the states and on the local businesses. So we don't want it to grow so huge that you don't have any more options, that the states have powers taken away from them. They're sending money to Washington and they're spending it on these things like education, even the environment. These are things that if we would restrict the role of government, we could shrink the debt and we could start to get more activity at the local level, so all of you and we could get to work creating jobs and economic growth.
Thank you. Ms. Clutt.
In 2010, our national debt is 63% of our GDP. And if we stay on the same track, by 2020, we're going to see it be 90%. Now, Congresswoman McCollum sits on the Budget Committee in Washington, D.C., and yet this year, for the first time, they didn't even bother to propose a budget. That's not dealing with the problem, and it's certainly not building consensus. It's important that we get the national debt under control, because otherwise we're headed toward a healthcare system like England's and a national economy like Greece. I'm in favor of Representative Pence's proposed constitutional amendment that would not only require that the budget be balanced, but that it be balanced at a certain percentage of the GDP. We cannot have government securities sucking all the investment out of the private market. To suggest that we're using private market mechanisms under Obamacare when Secretary Sebelius threatens the leadership of the healthcare insurance industry with sanctions for simply telling people about the increases in their policy premiums is not an accurate statement.
Thank you.